Hi, Victoria Ballard, osteopath and naturopath, specialising in weight loss. And I've made the statement that cortisol caused by stress actually puts on weight, and how also insulin, so cortisol and insulin, the two hormones that are most aligned with putting on weight. So let's just explain why, because it doesn't sound like very plausible. I get stressed, so therefore I get fat. That doesn't sound right. Well, I'll tell you why it works that way. Our bodies have not changed hardly at all in millions of years, and our ancestors needed the fight or flight mechanism to run away from, say, a saber-toothed tiger who wanted to eat them. So we still have these fight or flight mechanisms, and they're triggered by stress. What actually happens is there's two glands called the adrenal glands that live on the top of the kidneys, and any stress signals, which I'll explain later, any stress signals actually make the adrenals produce lots of adrenaline, which when it goes in the bloodstream to the liver stores glycogen, and the glycogen is just stored glucose, and it releases the glucose into the bloodstream in large amounts, so that the glucose can get into the muscles and you can run like hell away from the saber-toothed tiger. Now, what happens in modern day stress, sometimes it's just like it never goes away. It depends on your lifestyle and how well you've managed stress. So let's just take what happens between cortisol and insulin. The cortisol has stimulated the liver to produce lots of glucose. Now, the glucose has got to get into the muscle cells. And how does it do that? The pancreas secretes a lot of insulin. And the insulin knocks on the door of the cells and says, "Let me in, let this glucose in." And the cells say, "Listen, you've been knocking at my door over and over and over. I'm sorry, I'm just not opening up." So that's called insulin resistance. So what happens? The glucose is all flooding around your blood, and it's got to go somewhere, and it gets stored as fat. And some of that fat is around the vital organs, the kidneys, the liver. Fatty liver disease is really on the increase, the heart. And we really don't want this to happen. So that's how cortisol affects insulin resistance. And what can we do about it? Well, obviously we have to stress manage. Exercise is, believe it or not, if it's overdone, acts as a stress on the body. A little bit of stress on the body is not a bad thing. But if you're really doing too much and you're feeling like really tired and weak afterwards, then mix up your exercise into aerobic, anaerobic, strength training, high intensity interval training, then gentle walking, yoga, walking in nature. All these reduce stress. So does a good night's sleep. So make sure you're following all these sleep protocols. No screens for 2 hours before you go to sleep. A darkened room, as quiet as possible. If it's a little bit noisy, you can have one of these kind of white noise or sound of the ocean or whatever on a timer, just to help you get to sleep in a relaxed fashion. I hope that will help with those people who put on weight under stress, the cortisol body. Okay, thank you, bye.